Afternoon, how we doing?
Good.
You sure? We'll check again for an hour from now. No, today's going to be some fun. I'm going to take a leap of faith that because you know Randy, you spent time with him, you probably have some trust in Randy? Yes? Good. Then I hope that you will trust his judgment in bringing me here today and just take a leap of faith that we kind of know what we're talking about and we're going to be helpful today. So I'm going to go through some things without the benefit of a deep dive explanation that we normally get a chance to do if we're working with a client who's hired us to work with them 12 times a year. We've got plenty of time, we can do deep dive and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to kind of march through some things. I gave everybody a copy of the book, and I'll explain that towards the end if somebody will be kind enough to remind me to tell you about the book. But you also have this card. Right? And so as I'm talking here for a prologue, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and fill that out on the front in terms of your name, your title, your company, your email, your phone number, and you will fill in the contact me regarding later. And as you're doing that, so Nathan, I'm going to ask you to juggle two things at once, to write that out and then be thinking about this. And the question I want to go around the room rather quickly is, from a business perspective, what is your number one sales problem, or what do you perceive your number one sales problem is going to be? And the reason I want to bring that up is to share a little bit about, let me get to the right slide here. I want to talk about building Anthony Cole Training Group, and I won't go through our 25-year history, but prior to starting the company, I was a student of sales and sales management. I was in the life insurance business. I wasn't very successful. I hired a coach, and my coach said, you know what, we should be in business together. And so we've been spending time together. We tried to figure it out. His wife didn't like me. My wife didn't like him, so we decided to start the business on our own. And what I was bringing to the table to start the business was I was really already good doing what I'm going to do today. I was good in speaking in front of groups. I really understood the selling process, and I know how to coach it and teach it. I'm a coach by education and degree and profession. And I just happen to be coaching people who don't wear traditional sports uniforms anymore. And I had that going for me. But what really made a difference in our business was I knew how to sell it. And time again, I would run into businesses who had great ideas, who had great concepts, who had something that they could offer the public that could be a difference maker. But the businesses still failed. And it wasn't always because they were underfunded and things like that. Oftentimes, they didn't have a clue on how to go on the marketplace and sell this and get people to say yes and buy it. Or in your case, maybe provide you some funding to get you to where you want to get to. All right? So with that, the number one challenge, and we got to make this like a CNN version, okay? Reader's Digest for those of you old enough to remember Reader's Digest, right, Mike?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
I love Reader's Digest. So I think one of our biggest challenges is challenging the perception that what we have to offer tenants is valuable for the businesses, the landlords.
Okay, got it. Okay, but you might have a different answer. I'll come back to you. Okay? Number one challenge, Marvin.
I would say the process of getting people educated about what we're doing and why we're doing it.
What do you do?
CareKits is a matchmaking platform.
Oh, that's right. That's right. For people
With
disabilities.
Yep. It trains the salon pros
Yep.
how to better accommodate them.
Yep. The young man you see on the cover of the book is disabled. He's my son. He wasn't born that way. He was 12 years old, and now he's 33, and so we've had a number of years where we put him in a chair and we take him to the barber shop and he gets his hair cut, he doesn't have much to say about it. Anyway, so number one challenge to selling horse bits to horses. I'm sure they don't like it.
They don't. But they have to wear them anyway.
That's right. That's right. So what's your number one sales challenge?
It really is it's a very entrenched industry. 3,400 years of entrenchment with horse bits that haven't changed.
Right.
How do I get to them? And saying this is a scientific tool that's
Right.
precious, and you don't want to hang it on the barn.
Yeah. So what is your pitch? If I've got horses and I'm thinking, what are you, nuts? We're not going to do that to a horse. What's your pitch? I mean, what's...
Well, I can tell you the problem. Right now, there's 10,000 horses are euthanized a year.
Okay.
And there's 40 equine sports. And that process doesn't have to happen as
Got it.
quickly as it does.
Got it.
There's suffering.
Okay.
Horses can't talk. So how do you relay that message to a human being?
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. I like that pitch. Good. Okay. Compost.
Biggest challenge convincing investors and ultimately customers that our value proposition is worth 3 times the current price of later on.
Okay. You guys, yep, same company. Same answer, different answer?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think another challenge is getting the general public to care before they have to care.
Okay. All right. Good.
I think ours is convincing users that the service we provide has value to them,
Okay.
can be trusted.
Why is that a challenge for almost any company, any product, any brand? Why is that such a challenge?
Because you need customers.
What's that?
Because you need the customers. They're part of the product.
Why is it, maybe I asked the question wrong, why is it a challenge to get through to the consumer and get their attention?
They're inundated with everyone else trying to sell to them.
Yeah, they're in a, what's that?
Momentum too, like they only like the things they already know.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. I was doing an interview at a conference not too long ago, and they asked me the question, what's our biggest competition? And generally speaking, in the world that we're in, we don't face too much competition. Occasionally we do, all right? But our biggest competition is inertia. Your biggest competition, and they've been doing it this way for 30,000 years, okay? So that's a real challenge, okay? Same answer, different answer?
You really educate the general public how valuable their data are and what we provide. They can trust us and provide value to them.
Okay, good. Jim?
I'd go a little bit differently. We have a marketplace. We have 2 sides of the marketplace. When both sides are engaged in the marketplace, we've got a great value proposition. Wonderful, right? But it's that initiation into the marketplace to get the flywheel going.
Yeah.
So it's a different value proposition for me as an individual. It's a different value proposition for me as a business.
Yep.
So it changes drastically when we hit a certain critical mass.
Okay, good.
So that's our biggest. I think we've got to overcome that hurdle.
Okay. So, in what I just, I'll come back to you. You thought I forgot, didn't you? And you're thinking, please don't remember, please don't remember, please don't remember.
Now that everyone kind of spoke, I think this similarly, we have the landlords, the renters. We really want to focus on helping the renter, but the problem is we really have to go to the landlord to, I mean, you have to just know both sides. So.
Yeah. All right, so there's not been a single business we've been in front of for the last almost 30 years now who hasn't expressed something like you all just heard. All right, and the challenge is, let me see here. The biggest challenge is what we call sales DNA. Okay, in other words, what I'm saying is there's one person between you and your greatest success, and it's going to be you. Okay, because just like horse breeders, okay, and horse owners have a preconceived notion of how this ought to work, people who deal with compost, people who deal with renting, and what's your product again?
Data
Analytics. They all have a mindset, okay? Well, you have a mindset about how we should go to the market. Well, you have a mindset about what your value proposition ought to be. And overcoming that is a challenge. We're going to hone in on a very specific aspect of what we call sales DNA, and that is the money aspect. All right, in every business, all right, a money discussion has to take place, yes? Right? Some of you have already had that discussion, right? You've got to get money from somebody to get your thing started, or you got to figure out how you're going to finance it yourself. And so what we're going to talk about today is that one specific issue with regards to sales DNA. And then how do you go about overcoming not only this one, but other ones as well? When Randy and I spoke, he asked me to make this a facilitation type of format, which means I want you to ask me questions, and I'm going to ask you questions. Let's make this as interactive as we can make it. All right, we good? Got it?